Welcome to the second video of the school year where we will be reviewing the order of operations. So we have some sort of challenging problems that I want you to really consider each step that you're doing. And order of operations, remember, is parentheses first, so handle anything inside the parentheses, then deal with exponents, then multiplication and division from left to right, and then addition and subtraction from left to right. So it's important that you do it from left to right. Now you should see that you have an answer bank on your paper. The answers that appear on the front are for problems 1 through 10. The answers that appear on the back are for problems 11 through 20. So when you're working on these problems, I do want you to show all of your work. Okay, you cannot get a stamp on your assignment today unless you show all of your work, and that means step by step, what did you do to arrive at your answer, and all of your answers should match a number in the answer bank. So let's get started with number 1. I see that I have some parentheses, I have an exponent, and I want to make sure that I follow the order of operations. So I'm going to deal with just this part because there's some simplification that I need to do inside those parentheses. So this 5, I'm just going to leave out front. What's going on right in here is that there's 2 negatives. So I need to turn that into a positive. 2 negatives equals a positive. Okay, and don't forget that you're going to square whatever that result is in just a moment, but we're going to follow the order of operations. So I'm still simplifying that kind of complex parentheses there. So -9 and +12, as we discussed in the previous video, is going to be a positive value because the number that is positive is larger. So the larger number, we take that sign when we add. So my next step is going to be to deal with the squaring of the number 3. All right, so I'm going to go 5 times 9. How did I get 9? 3 times 3. That's what we mean by 3 squared. This really just means 3 times 3, and that's where I'm getting my 9. So if I do this, the result should be 45. Okay, check your answer bank and make sure that you have the answer 45. You can cross that off of your answer bank to keep track of what problems, what answers you can still have in the answer bank left over. All right, so let's go on to number 2. In number 2, we have some nested parentheses. Notice that we have parentheses within parentheses. So these have to be dealt with first. So you always want to deal with those parentheses that are deepest inside the parentheses. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite this, -3. I'm not doing anything with that right now. -8 is inside the other parentheses, but what is 14 minus 10? That's just 4. Okay, so now I have to deal with the same parentheses, but I have to combine those. I have a -8 and a -4. Both things are negative, so therefore I'm just going to keep the sign. The sign is still a negative. 8 and 4 is 12, and now I have this situation where I'm going to take -3 and multiply it by -12, which gives me +36. So yesterday we were dealing with negatives. We are also dealing with combining like terms, and we still have to remember those rules while we're working on order of operations today. So check your answer bank. Did you see a 36 in the answer bank? If so, you can cross that off because we've used that answer up. All right, we're going to skip number 3 on the video, but I do need you to finish that problem when I give you your work time. Let's take a look at number 4. In number 4, we have kind of this complex parentheses here, and it has a fraction. We have a numerator and a denominator, so let's go ahead and deal with that. And if we deal with the numerator, a -31 plus 13, you can use your calculator for this. Okay, and the top here, I'm just going to do this over to the side, is -18, and that's on the bottom we still have a -6. So really, my next step is going to be to consider -15 and whatever this is. Okay, use your calculator. What's -18 divided? Remember, this symbol right here just means that you're going to divided by -6. That's going to be a positive 3. Okay, positive because two negatives when we're dividing, it's going to result in a positive. All right, so negative 15 times positive 3 is negative 45. Okay, check your answer bank. See if there's a negative 45 there. If so, cross it off. So I want you to remember PEMDAS. Remember those rules, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, and same thing for addition and subtraction, left to right. And take your time. The reason I gave you that answer bank is to make sure you know that you are doing your work correctly. Let's take a look at the problems on the back. For problems 11 through 20, we want to substitute the values given for each variable. So for every single problem, let's just take number 11 for instance, we want to take and substitute a 4 in for every time we see an H in the problem, okay, in the expression. Every time we see a J, we want to substitute a 9 into the expression. We do want to show all of our work for credit, and we want to make sure we follow the steps, the order of operations. Okay, we can't just leave that off. That's something that is universal for any expression or any problem that you're simplifying or solving. So for number 11, to begin, I want you to fill in the missing parts. So J is 9, and H is 4. All right, so we have two fractions. They are not the same denominator. However, let's just take this fraction. What is 9 divided by 3? I don't want you to get all freaked out because we have fractions here. Take a look at this. This part of the problem is just asking us to simplify 9 divided by 3. Well, that happens to be 3. What do you know about the next part of this problem? What is 4 over 4? Well, that's just 1, and we are subtracting, right? We had a subtraction sign there, and our result is 2. Okay, again, you should have an answer bank on this side of the paper. Check and see if the number 2 appears in your answer bank, and if so, you can cross that off. All right, let's take a look at number 12. In number 12, we have to use negative 2 for H and 15 for J. Now, if you take a look right here, the expression has a JH. Well, this is saying we want to substitute in negative 2 for H. We're going to subtract 13. When these two numbers are these two letters are right next to each other, that means that you need to multiply. Okay, so multiplication is going to take place here. So I have to put the sign, that's an addition sign, and then I'm going to multiply 15 times negative 2, J times H. Okay, so again, multiplication and division takes place first. So I'm going to do this first. I'm just writing this out, negative 30, because 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. And now I would just use my calculator. So in my calculator, I'm going to type in negative 2 minus 13 minus 30, and that should result in negative 45. And if I'm correct, my answer should show up in the answer bank. So go ahead and check to see if it's in the answer bank. And then the final problem that I'm going to do with you on this video is going to be number 13. In number 13, it says, please use 15 in place of x and 4 in place of y. So I'm going to set this up. I'm just going to plug in the numbers that they told me to use. Now you notice here that we have an exponent. And if you think back to PEMDAS, we don't have any parentheses, but we do have the exponent. So let's work on that exponent. So what is 4 times 4? Remember, 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So now I have 15 divided by 3, which actually is just 5, right? 15 divided by 3 is 5. And I've squared 4, which is 16. And my final answer is going to be 21. Check and see if you see a 21 on your answer bank. So hopefully these problems are pretty straightforward, and the answer bank should definitely help. Make sure that you are following all the rules of order of operations, and if you have questions, make sure you ask. If you keep getting the wrong answer when you're doing these problems, then try another method in terms of, maybe start over, erase everything that you've tried, and then go step by step. Some students get a little bit quick, and then they end up in trouble. So don't be that student. All right, thanks for watching.